Are you hearing me, Mike? It sounds like you're hearing me. So let's assume that you are hearing me. Okay, so I've been thinking of filming for many months. I haven't uploaded in over 5 months, I think. I knew I was going to be taking a little break. I didn't feel the need to announce it or anything because I've been pretty inconsistent with my posting on YouTube for the last couple years, basically. But I didn't necessarily think it would be this long before another upload. I am still not sure what I want to share on this channel. What has changed is that I definitely feel like I want to move away from trying to fit into any kind of niche or even just viewing my topics as what my audience wants. Originally, when I was using social media, like before most of you probably found me because of my perfume content, social media was definitely a more personal kind of outlet for me where I did share a lot of personal stuff. And the few people who did follow me, mainly on Instagram, I would say, which is not the Instagram that I currently like share with this account. It's now a private account. But it used to be public, and that's where I used to share a lot. And basically, I just shared my life and my process and my growth and a lot of really, really vulnerable stuff. Some people would equate it with maybe oversharing, but for me, it was kind of like a journal. It was kind of like the journal of my life and my process. And in that process, I didn't have thousands of followers. I've since lost a few hundred, but I was maybe almost at 1,000 before I stopped posting on that account. But these are people that were really connected to me and really were invested in my journey and felt inspired by me, by my sharing. And I felt like I was making an impact. I felt like I was making a difference. I felt like I was able to be my fully unfiltered self on that account. And it was kind of like the opposite of what Instagram and social media is now, which is very much business centered. And yes, you can be vulnerable, but vulnerable as in like a tactic to gain followers or kind of as a method of marketing yourself, as a method of niching yourself down. It's almost like a niche to be vulnerable or to be authentic or whatever. This was before that. I just was vulnerable because as a person, I am a very highly sensitive person who likes to be real and authentic with people, who doesn't really like small talk, who likes to talk about deeper things, and who's also been through a lot of shit in my life too, that I've been, trying to heal from, make sense of through most of my adult life. And I didn't shy away from sharing that stuff. Then a lot of stuff happened. COVID happened, which the pandemic happened, which was a trauma that was felt by all. I won't go into it, but it was traumatic for me in a different kind of way as well, which I think some people will be able to relate to. I don't want to talk about it here right now, but yeah, there was something very traumatic during that time that happened with me, and that was around the time that I revamped my channel and everything. And then something else happened during that time that was re-traumatizing in a very basic kind of way, like that comes from my upbringing. I suffered a very intense betrayal through that time, and it really, really, really affected me in a deep way, to the point where I just completely shut down and didn't trust anyone anymore. And that's when I was like really doing quote unquote well on YouTube, starting to do well. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't be in the public eye or anything like that. So I tried to muster through it, but it just became more and more painful for me. It wasn't just that I felt inauthentic, it was that I was going through this massively dark time in my life that I'm still kind of going through. But at this point, I've been giving myself space for the last few months, for the last year. I've told myself, okay, no more pressure for YouTube, which is easier said than done because now I feel like, yes, I've taken the pressure off, but now there's this silent voice that's coming back that just knows I want to come back, that tells me to come back, but I don't know how to come back. And I'm not coming back from scratch anonymously necessarily, you know? So I still feel a sort of pressure to show up, just to kind of have a continuity on my channel or in the self that I present, you know, when so much has happened for me on my end. And in some ways I've changed a lot. In some ways I haven't. And that's why I don't really want to necessarily start over from scratch. Or, you know, that's the one thing that I did on my old Instagram, is that I would take hiatuses sometimes, not usually more than a couple months, but I would always come back, and it didn't matter that I changed. I definitely changed over the course of that Instagram account. But like I said, it was really more of like a journal, like a diary, and evolution and growth and moving forward through life are just kind of seen as inevitable in a journal or diary, right? You're not like a business. You don't have to you don't have to have that continuity that's kind of artificially orchestrated or artificially implemented. You know what I mean? Like, you have the continuity of who you are at the core, but a lot of things still change in your life, and you don't necessarily feel like you have to, I don't know, like, you don't necessarily feel like you have to explain any changes, because you're on the journey of freaking life, you know? So that was my Instagram. And I've, in the last like year, I keep debating, do I just drop YouTube, or do I just drop my other Instagram, which my other Instagram, there's nothing personal. It's like I feel very disconnected from it, and I haven't posted in over a year, and I really am just disillusioned by that new Instagram algorithm slash way of being on social media, which is just about image and curating your feed, and either becoming like someone that can be placed on a pedestal for people to admire, or completely like bearing yourself but still as like a commodity to just consume for people. It's just very impersonal. It's not what it used to be. Instagram is definitely not what it used to be. So I'm still kind of not sure. I haven't posted on my old Instagram since 2020, so it's definitely the longest hiatus I've ever taken. And it's sad. It makes me sad a little bit, because I look back on it, and I had that account since 2014 is when I opened it, I think. 2013 or 2014, I think. And it was really a constant in my life as just this like this little space of just processing and of self-expression, you know. And I feel like I connected with people just by virtue of who I was and how transparent I was about what I was going through. And so yeah, in the last few years I've lost a lot. I've lost people. I've lost my body in some ways. I've lost my health in some ways. I've lost some illusions. And there's been a process of grieving throughout that. And I've been very alone, very isolated. Lonely, yes, but actually like technically, physically isolated. I have maybe one very good friend. She lives very, very far away, that I feel I can be very, very vulnerable with. I have maybe 2 or 3 friends in all that, again, are far away, that I can't speak to really or see in real life. And in real life, honestly, like, I don't see anyone. And I don't think that is particularly I don't think that's particularly rare nowadays. I think especially since 2020, I think something has radically changed in our communities, in our spaces, even just spaces. We don't have those, they call third spaces. Is it second spaces or third spaces? Anyway, those tertiary spaces where people used to commune, like the library and coffee shops and the park, things like that. So while I do think technically like that can still happen now, you know, people can still do that, and people do still do that. Something happened, something changed in our lifestyle, something changed in the way that we connect to other people, which is now for the bulk of us mainly through telecommunication devices. So our cell phones, computers, and not only that, but a lot of it is actually through social media, which is another intermediary. Like that is just another, that's not even like through your device, it's through the buffer of social media, through the filter of social media, which is very impersonal. So I've never been this isolated in my life. And it's part of it is by choice, part of it is not by choice, like I said. So the part that's not by choice is the part where the pandemic happened, things happened, I lost a lot of people, I lost my family, most of my family. I'm estranged from most of my family, but that is more due to an abusive situation and childhood trauma. See, even that, like, is that oversharing? You know what I mean? In my old Instagram, I would have shared that, and people regularly DM'd me sharing what they were going through with estrangement and family and generational trauma. And it wasn't oversharing in that context, you know what I mean? It was my life. It's real stuff. It's real shit, man. Like life is this is the real shit, you guys. Like it's not it's not my responsibility to shiny it up, to polish it up for people, and yet I feel like I'm supposed to. I feel like there's no space for that. I don't know anymore. And or that you have to be completely healed before you talk about things, or which is a whole other issue I could talk about, you know, never being completely healed or not having necessarily needing to heal yourself, because there's a lot of life that is just muddy and that will always be a little muddy. But yeah, life, this is the real stuff, and it's not shiny and happy and feel good and uplifting all the time. And I can't do that. Like if I'm talking about real stuff, which is basically what I want to get back to, you know, it's not going to be shiny, happy people all the time. It's not going to be with a nice coat of veneer on it. It's not going to be self-help guruing through it. Sometimes it is. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you need that. Sometimes I'm going to be motivational. I know I can be highly motivational, but a lot of it is just my process. And my process is letting myself be seen imperfectly in my pain, in my trauma, in my messiness, in my rawness. And that's the hard part for me. I know that's the hard part for a lot of people. And I know that that is also why people get triggered by this too. They can't do that in themselves, for themselves, in their own life. They don't like to be seen that way. And that's okay. If I'm going to be my full self, I will be triggering to some. And I'm just trying to come to terms with that at a time when my biggest wounding is coming up, which has to do with not wanting to be abandoned, not wanting to be rejected, you know. So that's what makes this really hard, because on the one hand, I want to be myself, I want to be free, I want to be authentic, I don't want to be hiding through any filters, through any kind of illusions or niceties or euphemisms or platitudes. But at the same time, I know that a lot of people, that's what they want, and they fully reject it when people are kind of harsh or kind of realistic in that brutal kind of way, or even when people share themselves a little, you know, too much or whatever. So anyway, yeah, this might be a tangent, which, you know what, this is what it's going to be. I think you guys, like right now, I just need to start filming. I need to film my thoughts. I don't really want to be on camera right now. I don't want my face on camera, mainly because I don't have to be focusing on having to like look in the camera lens right now when I'm speaking vulnerably and just trying to reacquaint myself with sharing myself to anyone. And also I don't want to, I know I don't need to, but I would feel like I had to like kind of get ready for the camera, put a little bit of makeup on, all that stuff, which I'm not opposed to doing, but I have so much kind of quote unquote stage fright before even getting on camera that just kind of, by the time I do that, I might by the time I get ready, I might just, my nerves might be gone and I might not do it. You know, like today, I've been thinking about filming for months on end. And here I am just finally filming. And it's not because I've planned on filming today. I was just kind of like having a really bad day, to be honest. You know, like I'm having existential crisis after existential crisis kind of days right now. And so I was just like, you know what? Just do it. Just film. It's not going to get easier. It's not. And I have all this buildup of stuff I want to talk about and share. And, you know, part of me is always like, oh, well, no, I need to plan it. And I need to have like, you know, my outline of what I want to say and blah, blah, blah. So I don't forget things or I don't go on a tangent but I'm just not there right now. I just need to jump in, I think. So, you know, just before sitting down now, I knew a little bit of what I wanted to share, but not really, because to be honest, there was so much. And I also thought maybe I'll do some perfume. Like maybe I'll do some testing, some blind sniffs with me, which I still might do. I don't know. I thought of sharing some of the recent books I've been reading, which I think I will do. But I guess before that, I'm just giving you like a little update, I guess. But yeah, I think I am just going to go all in messily like this to begin with. And some of you might be really put off by it and you might unsubscribe, which is fine. But hopefully some of you will want to stick around and will enjoy some of these thoughts that I have that I want to share. And yeah, ideally, I almost like would prefer podcast style, you know, because when I first started my YouTube, like I thought I really needed to be on the camera too, because I was going to do like makeup videos and stuff. You can't just do, I mean, yes, there are podcasts on makeup, but you know what I mean? It was visual content. And right now I'm not feeling pulled to visual content at the moment, which of course might change. But yeah, so I need to reclaim this space of self-expression, of exploration, of being able to just be me, however that is, based on the day, without too much planning. And yeah, this was a lot. Like, I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling a lot, that I rambled a lot. But thank you for being here if you were here, and I will probably, you know, upload something now, something else. Thank you for being here. If you have left comments too, by the way, part of my process of needing to kind of shut down a little bit and protect myself in my little cocoon while I wait to be able to come out again, part of that process has been like me not responding to comments. And some of you have left wonderful comments and lovely comments, and there's no reason for me not to reply. It's just like anything coming in right now was too overwhelming for me, and any communication has just been too overwhelming for me. And again, again, right away I hear the voices, I hear people who like don't understand, and it's just like I need to learn to let that go, those judgments. I know that I'm a well-meaning person. I know I'm a good person. And those are the things that, you know, I'm not going to go into it all over again. But I've just been struggling a lot these past few years, and even that has been used against me in my personal life. And so that's why it's very hard for me to even share that here. It's not because my life is horrible. Like there's beautiful parts of my life, you know, but there's some stuff that I've really been struggling with, and there's been some really terrible things that have happened. Really, really terrible things that have happened that I've had to deal with, that I'm still dealing with, that I will deal with for the rest of my life. So I just need to reclaim this space as a place that's actually more of a space that I can come when I feel inspired, when I want to speak, when I want to share, with a lot less pressure to share about specific things and in a specific manner. So I'm hopefully I will get to these, but I have wanted to share about certain topics. I wanted to share about breast implants and breast implant illness, about my breast explant that I went through a couple of years ago, about social media and body image and filters and plastic surgery in general, like kind of heavy stuff, and not necessarily wanting to share it in a video essay format that is formally researched and cited with sources, and just a place where I can share my truth and that will hopefully resonate with some of you. And ultimately it's a place for me. Like, if you want to be here, that's great, and I'm so happy to have you. But ultimately, I don't want this to be a place for other people. I want to reclaim this space for myself. Just like my Instagram channel was a few years ago, my private one was kind of like my journal, my diary, my process, my documenting my life. I kind of want to get back to that with this channel too, with this YouTube. And I have privated a lot of my older videos, but even my older, like earlier videos, some of them that are still up, if you do look at them, if you dare look at them, I've looked at a couple of them and been like, wow, I would just not feel comfortable doing that now. But at the same time, I was so free. I felt so free. I felt so unashamed, and I was so authentic. So yeah, I just want to get back to that space. And thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. If you've been listening this far, hopefully that's because this resonates with you. And hopefully, ultimately I'm sharing myself this way because yes, I want to feel free and I want to feel good within myself and in alignment, but also because I do hope to make a positive impact on those who do decide to watch or listen. I don't want to be part of this social media world that's just about making you a consumer. And I'm not just talking about, marketing or selling you products. I mean, just making you a consumer of whatever I create. You know what I mean? I hope that when I create a video that it inspires you to then create in your own life or be more present in your own life. I hope that I can give back in that way by sharing my truth. And to do that, it really means kind of being brave and courageous, and it's hard. There's no rule book for it, really. It's I can't replicate what I see outside. I really need to just trust the guidance within. I need to trust my heart. And there you go. That's what's been going on. Basically, I have lost trust in myself and I need to get that back. And that's what this is all about. So thank you so much for listening. If you listened, thank you for not judging me on this path. And thank you for letting me have this space. If you're still here and listening, I appreciate you, and I hope that you will do the same for yourself and let yourself have the space to be imperfect, but also let yourself have the space to express, to be, and to take up space however you can and want to in the moment, even if it's not how you envisioned yourself being or how you think other people want you to be or anything like that. Just be you, the you that is you today. And even if it goes counter to the messaging around you, even if you feel like other people aren't going to accept you, I hope that you will listen to that little voice inside and that you will move closer towards your truth today and every day. So yeah, thank you for listening and watching, and until we see each other again, take care of yourself. I'll see you soon, hopefully. Bye.